Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of This is Dela Cruz. We're taking you on the road with Disturbed. We're going to show you two amazing people, the merch and the stage manager. If you've ever been interested in what happens with those, well, stay tuned. We're about to show you. Here we go, baby. I'm here with Bubba Gertz, this beautiful gentleman. We've talked about doing a video for a long time now,
Very
and
long time.
I finally trapped him. I trapped him in a truck, put a camera person here. Now you can't go anywhere.
Can't go anywhere.
We're doing a video.
We're doing a video.
We're doing
Let's
a video.
do
Bubba, what do you do?
I handle merchandise for the artist.
Yeah.
Everything on the road wise. Make sure the stands are set up. Make sure the product's out there. Make sure the fans have what they want.
So do you know how many shirts you have?
How many total right now? I don't think I know, but I could tell you where everything is. If you were to come in my truck right now, I can tell you where everything is, box size, how many is in that box. I know where all my boxes are.
What you guys may or may not know, one of the ways that bands actually make money on the road is through merch sales. So if you really want to support your band, go buy some merch at any level, from the highest level to the lowest level. That's a way that can really directly support them.
And not only does it support the bands, but it also pays the crew's wages as well. So that's a huge thing.
How'd you get into doing merch? I don't know if I've ever asked you.
Man, I started out as a drum tech.
Okay.
And then I went to guitar tech. And then it was, can you do merch as well? I started doing merch, and I was like, you know, I don't like the noise of the guitars and the drums. I could be behind the scenes and just do my merch thing. And then from there, I've done, other ventures within the industry, but it's always come back to merch.
Where are you from?
Born and raised in Iowa. I live in northern Michigan now.
Okay. What got you into this whole world?
Going to a Pantera concert. Totally, it was Pantera. First concert, though, was Pearl Jam. I was 14. Chili Peppers and Smashing Pumpkins, and I got to meet Pearl Jam. Very first show ever. 14, nice long mullet kid, you know.
Jeez.
So that kind of got me into it, and I went to a Pantera concert, and I'm like, I want to do this. And I went to a local show, told the band I wanted to help them out. 2 weeks later, and we started touring.
So what'd you do with them?
Did drums.
Okay.
And then did merch.
Yeah.
That was a band called 35 Inch Mutter.
Okay.
It was around that whole Slipknot era time frame, so you had two bands from Des Moines doing their thing. One was 35 Inch Mutter, one was Slipknot. Slipknot elevated to their world, and the band I was working with dispersed.
Yeah.
Started with another one, and boom.
What do you like about merch? Why merch?
The solitude. Essentially, I'm my own boss out here, and it's the way it is. I like it that way.
So, what's the difference from doing merch at this level as opposed to a smaller club level? I know, like, a lot of venues, like, you're not actually sitting at the booth selling stuff.
No.
Explain that.
Club levels, you're going to be selling the merch. Arenas, stadiums, sheds, you don't. So it has its ups and downs. At this time frame, everything's with this tip factor, right? Club levels, there's your tips. Arenas, you don't get those tips. You don't get the point system. You pretty much get a flat salary.
Okay.
But you're also not bending over and selling t-shirts all night, and you're still getting compensated quite well at this level. So the older I've gotten, it's harder for me to bend down to grab those t-shirts 1,000 times, 2,000 times a day. So kind of like this. This is a good little world in here.
So what do you do for this? If you're not at the merch table, what do you do?
Watch numbers.
Okay.
Basically, with that venue, we can sit there and watch live sales. So I'm just watching to see what's getting low. As it's getting low, I'm throwing them more. Constantly restocking all night long to make sure that we don't end with zeros, as we like to say.
Yeah. If somebody wants to be a merch person, What's your advice? Should they just go to a local band and start learning that and hawking T-shirts at the club level, or can they get to this level?
Club level, I would suggest them to be maybe local vendors. Get in with like a local vending company,
Okay.
and see if they can put their foot in the door to see if they even want to do it.
That's smart. Yeah.
And then from there, there's so much to learn on the road, though. There's so much to learn. Everybody's going into it thinking it's super easy. Well, throughout the course of a tour, you might be selling 2, 3, 4, 10, $15 million in merch. That's a lot of money in front of you that you have to look after.
Yeah.
Chasing it down, just trying to find everything. So on this level, it's much easier. Club level, you're expected to do a lot more than on this one.
Common misconception with merch people.
Common misconception of merch people is we're lazy and we got the easiest job out here.
Okay.
Very big. Oh, you're just the merch guy. I laugh. I think it's hilarious.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Some days you're the hammer, some days you're the nail. You know, out here on this level, it's easy. Not easy. I don't want to say it's easy.
Yeah.
It's easier for me,
Yeah.
at least. It's not easy at all.
Yeah.
But this morning I walked into 8 pallets of merch. Here we are. This is it, you know? It's common. The biggest misconception of merch is we don't do much. But if you look at it in either way, whether it's club level or whether it's arena level, we're the first ones in and most generally the last ones out.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
we always usually get the shaft,
so?
space-wise.
Oh, yeah.
Space-wise, you know, I'm at trailer club levels. It's like, oh, we got room for boxes here. Or if there's no room left on the trailer, where does it go? It goes into a bay or a back lounge or your bunk.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Depending on who you're working for.
Well, the biggest thing that people tell for success for tours is ticket sales, merch sales.
Merch sales. I guarantee it with all the promoters out there right now, they see our numbers every day. And that's a huge selling point now for them to get their guarantees to bring them in their venues. We're doing X amount of dollars. You, in turn, are going to receive X amount of dollars for your percentage, for your hall percentage, and then the credit card percentage, blah, blah, blah. So all those promoters are definitely looking into that as well.
What separates the okay merch guy from the A-lister?
Oh, man. I don't know. That's a hard one. Because there's a lot of A-listers and there's a lot of okay A-listers.
Sure.
You
Well,
know
what's the
what I
biggest thing you've seen merch people let go for? Or the most common mistakes that you see them making?
Worrying about something that's not their job. That's one thing I do see a lot of merchandisers do on tour is they want to get into different aspects of the touring world. Let me do this. Let me do this. Let me do this. Well, why don't you just do your job and focus on your job, and then you won't have to be let go for messing up on a job that you weren't even brought in on. I see that a lot in the younger kids. They don't have the work ethic.
That's a tough line, though, because like some people I know they would love to learn more about.
Oh, love to learn more. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I did. Don't get me wrong. I've done a lot of other jobs out here. That's because I've learned. But at the same token, know your worth, I guess. You know, know your worth out here.
Yeah.
You know, I don't even know. You know, I guess I don't want to say it because I'm guilty of it. You know, you get grumpy with some of the venue folks where it's like, this is your job, and sometimes they don't know how to do their job, so it puts you in that bad zen space.
What's some advice you could give to merch people that make their lives immediately easier?
Make their lives immediately easier. Huh. Jesus, Nick, you're coming at me with some serious questions, man.
I got you, man.
You got me.
Yeah.
What would make your life easier?
I want to ask the real questions.
Watch, learn, watch somebody else. Just watch. But it goes the same thing with everything out here. Audio, lights, everything. Watch and learn.
Yeah.
You know, you're not going to be able to do it by just looking at it. You got to get out there and dive your hands into it as well.
I look at this and it's like, your organization skills have to be insane, and you have to like
I have
labeling, organization,
I
and
mean,
like.
I could, you know, you could just to say the shirt, boom, I could tell you where it's at. You know, 5X's, 4X's, 3X's. I know where everything is in my truck. Everything is. I've unfortunately been the guy that's had to pick up a few tours that somebody had got let go, whether it be for personal reasons or something didn't jive with production, whatever the case was, and I got thrown into that mix and I've walked into the truck. And I literally one time walked into a truck for taking over a tour, and I felt like this truck had rolled down the highway numerous times, and it was just box upon boxes upon boxes. And at the end of the day, venue folks were just throwing the boxes in. I found out, just throwing it in there, and I walked in there, and I was like, "Oh my God!" It took 3 of us 10 hours to even make a path to the end. It was that bad. I walked in, and I was like, "This, there's no way possible." I mean, there's no way possible that this truck could look like this without being in the wreck. It was bad.
Yeah, jeez. But I love that. I've seen this with you before. Like, your setup makes sense, and really anybody could walk in here and kind of understands what's going on.
Well, you need to look at your overall picture. I mean, for me, when I got this tour, I found out how many items I had. I looked at the shirts myself, and I'm like, okay, this is going to be our best seller. This is going to be our second best seller without even knowing.
How do you know that?
28 plus years of selling t-shirts.
So what's the most, through all the bands you've done, what is the most popular shirt style you've seen done? Is it the tour shirt of that year where they've been?
It's always the tour shirt with that year. Always. I mean, we have, on Disturbed right now, we have 6 shirts with tour dates on them, and I know the top 3 every single day.
Okay, brand new band that wants to get into merch. What are the top things that they must have on tour for merch?
Tour shirt, simple shirt, not a tour shirt, maybe just a simple logo on the front, some big print on the back, a hat, and a koozie. I mean, koozies are
Still, huh?
I mean, how many times have somebody hands you a koozie and you're like, oh, right on.
It goes in a drawer for me.
Right.
I have a drawer full of them.
Don't do bottle openers. Don't do keychains. Stickers are stickers. You know, yeah, you might be in the bathroom taking a piss and see, oh, that's a cool band name. Look at their name, man.
On a stop sign somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Or a stop sign somewhere. It'd be like, huh, it's pretty good. But no, just a tour shirt. So, but with that being said, the younger bands sometimes won't have their full touring schedule even out. You know what I mean? So it's hard to print a tour shirt per se if you don't know all your dates.
Yeah.
And you got to do a certain amount and a certain order number. I don't go behind the scenes part of the certain amounts, a certain ordering numbers. Yeah, I talk to the office and they say, "What do you think we're going to do?" And I kind of give them a projected guess, but that's all I could do. You know.
Is this something you keep seeing bands do that you're like, guys, stop selling this. Nobody buys it.
There's a few things.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think of what it is without selling anybody out right now.
No,
you know
no,
what
no.
I mean? For that one person be like, God, I know I shouldn't have had that out there. But there's a
or
few
maybe
things.
Advice like maybe not so much these things, and they're kind of maybe fading out a little bit. Maybe steer for these things.
I mean, you're seeing a lot of different things, like in the arena thing. I mean, you're seeing a lot more like tumblers or coffee glasses.
Yeah.
That shows our age, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I remember growing up, I never saw a coffee.
Yeah.
I mean, you might see a coffee mug, but you never saw like a tumbler style. Yeah. And now you're seeing that a lot on all the touring.
Okay, so what's your advice for the smaller bands too, like doing sign stuff or doing drum head stuff? Do you see that get pretty popular?
Absolutely.
It seems like that could be a hit or miss.
Absolutely,
really.
Absolutely. I mean, I think the band on a tour that we're on right now is out selling signed set lists for after the show.
Yeah.
Anything signed.
And personalized.
Personalized signs. Small bands, they want to sell t-shirts, come out and see the fans. Number one thing to do to get big is to go out and see the fans. Because without them, you're nothing. I mean, they're our bread and butter. They're your bread and butter, you know. So can't look down on the fans. It don't matter who they are, man. They're paying your bills ultimately.
There's this band, I'm friends with some of them, and it's called the Funeral Portrait.
Yeah.
Smaller band, and the lead singer,
I'm seeing a little bit of.
awesome guy. As soon as he's done off set, that fool runs all the way to merch and stands there and will
Yeah,
be there
man.
the entire time until the last band's done, until everybody does to take pictures. And I was like, gotta respect that hustle.
I've
with
seen
that.
so
And
many
people go
bands
over
do
there.
it.
And it's not necessarily the hustle, but it's the connection with the fans.
Right,
To be able
right.
to make that one-on-one, which is so important, especially for the younger and up-and-coming bands. I think that's
Right.
huge.
That is a very
man.
huge thing. That's probably the number one thing I could tell an up and coming band to do. Is go out and spend that 30, 40 minutes of your precious 24 hours that
Outside of VIP hours for the regular.
outside of your 2.5
Gen Pop.
hour of work.
Yep.
Come out and just hang out with the fans for a little bit. You know, do the fans. That's it.
awesome.
That's
awesome.
that's a kicker right there.
I know you're a busy guy. I don't want to
Yeah.
take up too much of your time. Thank you so much for
Absolutely,
doing this.
man.
If people want to follow you and follow your career, where can they follow you at?
I do have an Instagram,
Okay.
BubbaDop1.
Okay.
I think that's what it is, or Facebook as well.
Oh, one more question.
Yeah.
Who's the one band you pay to go into a role?
I don't know. I'm trying. That's a hard one because I've worked for all my
Yeah.
idols. You know, I'm at. I don't know. I mean, I could listen to Deftones every single day.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
Last year I was out with Korn, and that was phenomenal. I mean, those are dudes I grew up to, so that's kind of where I got my start in the new metal era.
Okay.
I was
So
a new metal kid.
looking back at your entire career, what's your highlight going like, that was freaking cool?
Man, there's a couple. Well, I'll give you a couple. First
Okay.
time I met Vinnie Paul. First time I was ever starstruck, because Pantera is obviously what changed my projections and trajectory in life. Second was Pam Anderson. And the third was probably in Australia. It was kind of awkward. It was a festival. I was down there working with Buck Cherry, Aerosmith, Van Halen, obviously with DLR was there.
Yeah.
And a lot of other bands, Kings of Chaos were there at the time. Glenn Hughes was there. So all these idols that I grew up with were there. And just going out and watching Van Halen from front of house.
Oh, that's cool.
And I have, it's great because I have Steven Tyler sitting next to me, and he's with his security guy, but his security guy was a smaller dude, right? So I'm standing out there, and he taps me on the shoulder, and he says, "Hey, Bubba." And I'm like, so I look around at Steven Tyler. You know, I met him once before, but I never thought he remembered my name. He's like, "Can you take one step to your right?" And I'm like, "I'm so sorry, I was blocking your view." You know what I mean? I'm just sitting there watching. He goes, No. All these fans are trying to get my attention. I just want to watch the show. So for the rest of the night, I got Steven Tyler on my neck. He looked like a parrot, you know what I mean? He just, and I'm just looking around, and I'm like, these are all my idols
Yeah.
in front of me.
Yeah.
And I've worked for everybody I've worked for or worked with in some way, shape, or form with all my idols. And I'm just like, there's a few left. I met Tom Waits. I would love to be, you know, Tom Waits is a big guy I like to watch. But yeah, there's a few.
There you got it, guys. If you guys want to get into touring and not necessarily feel techie, but you kind of want to get in this world a little bit, this is a fantastic avenue. There's some fantastic people here. If you're interested about it, reach out to me or reach out to him. I've got a website too. You can go to thisisdelcruz.com. You can email me, hit me up on Instagram. Love to get, or go to his.
Yeah.
Love to get you guys connected.
Absolutely, brother.
Oops,
Such a good
that
time.
was
Thank
weird.
you. It's a big hand.
Weird, I got like my fingers. Oh. Yeah. We meet again.
Yeah, it's
We
been a
know
while.
each other.
Yeah, it's been
How
a
do we-
long time.
How do we know each other?
Godsmack tour in 2012. You
We
were-
actually toured together.
Yeah.
It's
Oh, that
been a
was-
hot minute.
Yeah, what is that, 13 years ago or something like that? 13, 14 years?
14. What are you doing now?
Stage manager for Disturbed.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, was drum tech and with these guys started in 2008 and then slowly added hats and now slowly getting rid of the hats.
Okay, so that job title, what does it mean?
Stage manager, I don't know, in my world it's making sure everybody knows where their deads are going in the morning, how we're bringing the gear in, how many stage hands we got every day, making sure all the local hands are split into their departments, talking with all my department heads, making sure they meet the electrician every day, you know, calling the trucks as they come in so the guys can catch their gear, handling all the oddball stuff during the day. You know, hey, we need some pipe and drape from the house, or we need to put this here, or need you to bring house lights down for this for focus, and you know, interacting with the venue plus our crew.
Where are you from?
Columbus, Ohio.
Okay. What got you into the industry?
Bad life decisions? No, I hanging out with some buddies that played in a band, and then eventually I started playing in a band with them, and I just started hanging out in one of the clubs in Columbus, and started working there, and then got asked by the people that were running the Newport Promo West at the time, working with some of their guys, and ended up working for them for almost 20 years, and starting at the Newport, and then the Shot, the nationwide. Now it's Kimba Live, but it was always the indoor-outdoor place in Columbus. So it was like Lifestyles Community Pavilion, or the LC, or Express Live, or whatever you call it this year. And just started and made the right connections.
First tour you went on?
First tour was November of 2003 with Lacuna Coil. It was a guitar tech.
Really?
Yeah, I couldn't ask for a better group of people for a first tour. I still talk to them to this day. They're like they became family kind of thing, like real close.
Do you miss doing guitar tech stuff?
Not really. Like, I didn't mind it. I was all right with it, but I was always a better drum tech.
Okay.
But it was okay. I had fun with it, but yeah, drums was more my thing for a long time.
So if you had to choose between guitar tech, drum tech, or stage manager,
They all got their advantages. I mean, put a gun to my head, say drum tech, just like it. It's fun.
yeah.
Stage manager, but problem is I've lost all my chops. I can't play for crap anymore. And post-COVID world, I've seen the writing on the walls. It was, you know, time to pivot, because it's like so many bands wanted guys that could actually play the catalog, just to have a backup in case somebody was sick when we were first starting back after all that craziness. And you know, it just kind of, I went with it. And it's like, you know what, I'll keep it on the stage manager side.
What separates a good from great stage manager?
I don't know. I'll let you know when I figure that out. I don't know. I guess listening, you know, knowing what you need to do to make the gig make it happen. Also, being able to listen to your guys and help them where they need help, but also, you know, you got to take care of your local as well. You got to be able to work both sides of it. You got to know how to play the politics of the game, I guess. Kind of, you got to keep everybody happy at the same time as nobody happy. I don't know. I don't know really how to put it. But you just got to be able to keep everyone working and keep everybody relaxed, I guess, is a good way to put it.
What do you see as the biggest mistake that new stage managers make?
Yelling. I mean, don't yell at the locals. You know, don't yell at your crew. Don't yell at the locals. As soon as you start yelling at somebody because they're not doing what you ask, or they did something wrong or whatever, you've already lost the argument. You're gonna be that guy known as, that guy's an asshole, I don't want to work with him. But if you talk to him, figure out what's up, and just show them the right way you want something done, I think that helps. You know, that's a big mistake I think a lot of people do, is just when you start screaming and yelling at people, people don't want to help you.
So if somebody wants to get into the industry and be a stage manager on the road, what's your advice?
Learn everything you can. Learn every position that you can. Learn the backline stuff. Learn audio. Learn lighting. Learn rigging. Learn pyro. Learn set carp. Learn it all. You need to know. You need knowledge of how everything works to be able to move into that position. And if you start as a backline guy, come in early. Just watch how the load-in goes for a few days. Ask if you can jump in and help a lighting guy, or have one of the riggers show you how to tie bowlines, how to do steel, when they're marking out the floor, how to mark out. Just these little things. If you want to move into higher positions, I guess, that's what you would do. Just learn it. And, everybody out here is always pretty chill, and just figure out how to do things. You know, watch how everybody does stuff. You'll pick up the knowledge.
What is the craziest gig you've ever done? The craziest stage you walked onto and went, oh my goodness.
As a local hand early in my career, Rammstein in 2000 at the Newport Music Hall in Columbus. So a little 1,200 cap room when Rammstein was still kind of nobody in the States. Stage is covered in pyro. And this was, I believe this was even pre the station nightclub fire. Like it was before that. So it was just absolute insanity. It was one of those stages like early in my career, like, is this even safe? But it was an amazing show to see them going full tilt with all the pyro and everything in such a small setting. On a tour setting, I don't know. I mean, maybe when I was doing Motley, the roller coaster was pretty crazy. Like the fact that when I was teching Tommy, I would sit right, you know, I'm sitting right behind him with the coaster, with the second coaster, the Crucifly. And I had pyro boards. Literally, I'm sitting on the ground and I've got stuff right here just above my head that I can reach up and touch going off around me the entire show. You know, maybe that might be one of the craziest things I've done. Otherwise, yeah, it's all, every show is kind of unique, I guess. I mean,
Touring,
yeah,
it's tough.
very, very.
How do you balance it? And how do you keep grounded while you're out on the road always?
It's hard. I mean, since I've come back from like with COVID and everything at 22, you know, really went hard from 22 up till now. And a lot of it is therapy. I mean, there was a point where I was broken. I'm very honest about it. And I was talking to a therapist twice a week, every week for about 2 months. Then went to once a week, talking to a therapist for a month, and we like month, 6 weeks, and slowly got down, you know, it's like a once a month thing. One thing that she told me was, no matter what, 10 minutes of the day, no matter what, turn your radio off, go find some place to just sit down, get some fresh air, read whatever you like, your favorite thing to read. Read a book, read comics, whatever, just something to make you disengage for 10 minutes. And then on days off, go find something that you like. It's like one of your hobbies, something that you can do as a hobby that doesn't require you to have to carry a bunch of stuff. You know, like if you like a sport, you go do, you know, just carry what you need to go do whatever sport. Like if you like fishing, or in my case, I like to do, like to look for vintage toys and vintage Lego. So I'll try to find a shop and get out of town wherever that is. Just even if I spend 2 hours doing that, just enough to disengage.
At what point did you know that that was something you needed?
Basically, when I kind of, and to be quite honest, I ran away from home for a minute. It was having some tough times at home with my missus and I, and family life was getting a little crazy and was super stressed, and it just got to a point where I dreaded getting, like, I dreaded coming home, but I also dreaded getting on the plane to leave. I didn't want to be around anywhere. I didn't want to kill myself or anything like that, but I was just very, just like, everything sucked. I just hated everything, no matter which side I was on. And that's when I was just like, this isn't right. Then I had to find somebody, and found somebody that was able to help me.
So your advice to those people that are kind of sitting in a dark spot right now?
Therapy helps. Any of the online, if you can't see somebody in person, the online people, find somebody on there and stick with them. It will help. They'll help you get through it. It's hard. I mean, this life is very hard. It's very much very up and very down. And when we're home for a while, it's very down. When you're up, it's amazing. It's amazing. Not even being in the band though, it's still like you have these amazing highs and lows, and it becomes part of your identity. And when you're home for a long time, or if you're, you kind of get lost in it and you forget, you get home, you don't know what to do because part of your identity's been taken away, and it's hard.
Who are some of the people that you look up to and some of your mentors?
Wow. Well, one of them was one of my playback guys is no longer with me. Viggy. Viggy was a big one. He taught me a lot of stuff. You know, he taught me how to do quite a few things in playback world, and you know, miss the guy. You know, we kind of drifted apart over the last few years just because he was busy, I was busy, and you know, family stuff and all that. But it was always good whenever I got to see him. But I miss him. I wish I could hear his voice one more time. You know.
Of all the shows that you've done, all the touring, when you look back, what is the pinnacle for you, or the highlight?
There's been a lot, really.
Yeah?
There's been a lot. I mean, the whole original Motley, the farewell, the end tour, those last shows in LA were something else. They were something special. To be a part of that. The Kiss Motley run was really fun. That was my first run with Motley in 2012, and it was crazy because we still talk about that changeover between Motley and Kiss. We called it sweat change, and everybody that was part of it will tell you how difficult that was. I mean, that's the entire Motley set coming off stage and the entire Kiss set going on stage in 30 minutes every day, and it was, you know, that's 4 trucks worth of gear changing over in these amphitheaters that just had no room, but somehow we did it, and it was nuts. And then with these guys, with the Disturbed guys, I like this production. I think it's really cool. But what we were doing in 23, where everything was just on fire, the moving truss on fire everywhere, it was unique because it's something that nobody had done before. Not even Rammstein had their whole grid and truss on fire at all times, like the entire show. So it's different bands offer different things. It's like that's a cool moment.
Favorite festival?
It's got to be, honestly, it's probably got to be Grass Pop. Grass Pop's just, I don't know, there's a moment from that actually sticks in my head is, it was like 2016, Foreigner was doing a bunch of the festivals. So, and they were like midday, and we were right after them. We were right after Foreigner. And I remember looking out at, you know, 80,000 crazy Belgians singing Jukebox Hero and I Want to Know What Love Is as we're doing Changeover. And it's like in the middle of this crazy metal festival, it had Behemoth and Disturbed and Lamb of God. And I forget who else was on this, but it's like all these heavy bands and you got all these Belgians and everybody else that traveled in singing this. It's just like, what is happening right now? It's honestly, that festival, just to watch it over the last 20 years go from what it is now, or what it was to what it is now, is insane.
Yeah.
They've done it right. Every year they put more money into it, try to make it better for, you know, artist standpoint backstage to the tech standpoint for everything on deck. It's amazing.
Do you have a favorite venue?
I don't know. It depends, I guess. Like arena level, most of the arenas are the same.
Yeah.
You know, it's honestly, I really did like Little Caesars in Detroit. That arena, it's done really well. They've done it well, but just from a whole aspect of the whole thing, the way they have it set up for hockey and basketball and, you know, concerts, like nobody has to like, hey, we got to stop for a second, the basketball team's coming through or anything. It's all separated and super smooth day. Theater level, I don't know. I guess, you know, maybe the Hammerstein. I really like doing Hammerstein in New York. It was always fun.
Favorite small club?
Small club. Does the Norva count as a small club? I guess it would.
Sure.
The Norva's always fun. I mean, everybody's always like, oh, that hot tub's dirty. I'm like, dude, every time I've been there, I've literally watched them clean it and put, you know, scrub it down with bleach and make it clean. It's like, it's just, you know, it's a great backstage. Besides the hot tub, it's like there's showers, there's all the video games, there's room to spread out, and there's decent food around. It makes it's not a bad day.
Advice to someone who's starting with local crew that's going to start working with touring guys?
As a local, ask questions. You know, Ask questions about what you're doing. Make sure, and make sure you're also like, you have somebody on your crew that can mentor you a little bit too, that can kind of show you the ropes that you can ask questions to, make sure that before you even get to the first gig, make sure you just ask a question, like what's stage left, what's stage right, what's upstage, what's downstage, these little things. But don't be afraid to ask the guys on tour, like, well, like, a big one is ratchet straps. A lot of people don't know how to use a ratchet strap. I didn't know for the first 2 years till somebody showed me the right way to do it. And I was like, I don't know. Nobody showed me how to do this. And I forget what tour it was, but somebody showed me and I'm like, okay, cool. And it's, yeah, just ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask like a gig question.
If people want to follow you and follow your career, where can they follow you at?
I keep my socials pretty locked down, to be honest. It's mostly family stuff, a little bit of my woodworking when I've popped that open to sell to friends
Well,
and such.
come to a Disturbed show near you. You'll see him running around on stage, man.
Yeah.
You're awesome.
Thank you.